And I know I said we were talking about things that I liked, but hey, I'm Amy and welcome back. Today we are talking about the new Brad Pitt outer space movie Ad Astra. This is a movie that I thought would be, from the trailers, very much like an Interstellar. It has all of the looks and the trying to be Interstellar, all of the deepness that Interstellar has, it wants to be. But in the immortal words of Linkin Park, I tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. And yes, that is how I feel about this. Let's talk about it. I apologize if there is any extraneous noise because there are power washing outside my window, and today is the only day I literally took off work to film a bunch of videos, to edit a bunch of videos, and of course they choose to stay to power wash outside my apartment. But let's talk about Ad Astra. Let's ignore the noise and talk about Ad Astra because it kind of is a bunch of visual noise. It is very beautiful, I will give it that. It is extremely beautiful, and I feel like it's all it is. I mean, yes, there are some underlying themes to it. They talk about like self-imposed isolation, what that can do to your mental state, also just isolation in general, and the vastness and the isolation of space. Yes, they bring up all of these really great psychological points and like just thought experiments, but honestly, that's like, it's just surface level. I don't feel like it doesn't get any deeper with anything that it's trying to do. It's not getting any deeper with anything that it's trying to get deeper with. There are characters that don't even really need to be there, like Liv Tyler's character. Yes, she could play an integral role to the story if they expounded upon her more. They showed her relationship between her and Brad Pitt more, but they only showed in vignettes that don't really fulfill anything. So their closure at the end of the film doesn't feel like closure to me. It just feels like, okay, like nothing. If they had expounded upon her story a little bit more, Brad Pitt's feeling of working, like feeling his loved one's pain and they're like bearing their pain as they bear his pain, it did not feel as fulfilling as it could have been. And I also feel like they probably should have built up the story between him and his father more. I think if they had taken out Liv Tyler completely and all of his relationship to her and made it more about him and his father, their conflict and resolution and all of their story towards the end of the film would have been a lot more powerful, and they could have changed the way they talk about him. Like, again, I don't know any of the names of the characters in this except for like Roy and Cliff, which are like Brad Pitt and Tommy Lee Jones. They don't really give you character names. So the resolution between Brad Pitt and Tommy Lee Jones would have felt a little bit more cohesive, a little bit more like understandable, because you see him working to try to find his father. You see him get emotional because his father is so distant from him. They give you all this great backstory. They build it up. And it just feels like it fell very flat for me. I did not really get the emotional connection that they were trying to make there. And I think they could have built their story up more. I'm repeating myself again because I lost my train of thought. They could have built their story up more, made their conflict resolution, everything at the end a little bit more solid and felt a little bit more versus just like, you know, looking beautiful in space. And they also could have, I feel like, done something different with Brad Pitt's character without having Liv Tyler's character there to show that he will be more in society. They could have had him be a little bit more like, he talks about anger issues and being angry all the time because of his father and because he's being away from everything and being distant from people. They could have showed that in other ways besides him just talking about it, because that's a whole other issue I have. We all know, if you've been watching my channel for a while, I love the show don't tell method, and I feel like, God, there's an exhausting amount of voiceover and narration in this. It's insane, and I hated it. I think that's another thing that really dragged this movie down for me, was the insane and exhausting amount of narration. Him talking about being distant from people. Him talking about losing his wife. They do show Liv Tyler leaving, but it's just, it doesn't hold any weight as he's talking about it while it's happening. Like, it would have bore more weight if they had shown their conflict a little bit more, shown him being distant from her a little bit more, and then her leaving, versus, versus them slightly showing them being distant from each other and then her leaving. Just showing him being distant from people in general and him being angry at people in general, like when he's in the calming room and he yells at the like lunar or the captain or the whatever person of Mars, which they don't even really explain things very well in this. I feel like they could have shown that earlier on, him being distant from other people and unwilling to work with other people, and then him being more open to it at the end of the film. I just feel like a lot of this was surface level. It was trying to be more than it was. It was just, you know, trying too hard. But I do like the mental health conversation it kind of brings up a little bit, talking about isolation, self-imposed isolation, because that's kind of what Brad Pitt's character is doing, and the isolation that happens within like space. And there's like this thing that happens in the second act of the film on their way to Mars, where these baboons, I think there's some kind of primate, attack the captain of the ship that is taking Brad Pitt's character to Mars, and they don't explain it a whole lot. They don't really explain why Tommy Lee Jones is going crazy. I mean, it could be like implied that they're going crazy from being isolated in space, but I mean, that's like, you'd think that they would explain that with all the other explanation that's been going on, all of the half explanation that's been going on. Plus, like, they don't explain anything that happens on the ship. Do you have to guess what Tommy Lee Jones did to, like, oh, why, what? Like, I got very confused. I was extremely bored. There's so much, like, it's trying to do what Stanley Kubrick did in 2001: A Space Odyssey as well. I'm just bringing up all of these really great filmmakers and space films that this movie was trying to be, because it was trying to have all of these grandiose ideas like Interstellar has, and concisely puts in very well with all of the time travel and stuff. Nolan did a great job with that, and it's trying to bring the expanded scenes that Kubrick puts into 2001 to show the isolation. Yeah, like, it does not, I feel, do a great job besides just looking beautiful. Also, a lot of my annoyance with this could be the fact that the entire film, it's 2 hours and like 4 minutes or something, every 5 minutes there was this guy 6 seats down from me clearing his throat. So that really annoyed me, and you know, that kind of stuff does impede your view of a film, but I still, like, no. There's even some scenes that, like, there's this, like, Fury Road, like, Mad Max Fury Road moment on the moon that I feel like is really only to get the characters, like, it's only there to get Donald Sutherland and Brad Pitt to this point where they're separating, but they don't really explain what happens to Donald Sutherland's character. Like, I mean, you can be mysterious for a reason movie, but there can't be just total characters that you say, oh, this character is having a heart attack, and then they're going into surgery, and then nothing else. Like, cool. That's great screenwriting. Not... You know, what it really boils down to, though, is this film is being pretentious for the sake of being pretentious. And as a pretentious film student myself, I freaking hated it. Like, yeah, that's how I feel. Let's talk about some things that maybe I liked about it. There is a Purdue name drop, which... I mean, that's kind of cool, repping my home state, but, you know, NBD, I didn't even go there. The opening sequence is, like, anxiety-inducing for me. Him falling, and just, I mean, when he, like, not even, like, before he even falls, when he gets to that railing and looks down at Earth, I was just like, okay, yeah, but, okay, like, God. I have a thing about, like, space and water and, like, the depths of the ocean, that, yeah. So that's a that was a big tough thing for me. Like, usually I can power through it, like, it's okay, but that was just a little bit too much. And I know I said I was talking about things I liked, but honestly, like, I guess Brad Pitt was good. He kind of wasn't doing much except for talking and emoting. Yeah. I mean, action sequences were kind of cool, but that's another thing I have an issue with, especially the in space action sequence, like the Tommy Lee Jones Brad Pitt fight in space, and then Brad Pitt moving around in space. Like, their space physics are completely off. One, there's no sound in space. There's plenty of sound that you can hear in this movie. It's not like Gravity, where it's amazing with its exterior space noises, but also they don't necessarily show that they have like the move. I don't know exactly what it's called, but in a lot of astronaut suits that you see in movies, they have like this device that'll control the way they move so they can get through space. They don't necessarily show that in this, but apparently they may have it or something, because you can't just like, swim through space like you are swimming through a pool. There is no air for you to push off of. Like, it's a simple law of physics. Like, it's like me doing this right now. I'm not going anywhere because there's no physical thing for me to push off of. Yeah, that's just like the science nerd in me being like really upset about that, because I think it's super stupid. I feel like this is a rather divisive film. I have heard from a lot of people that they absolutely love it. I've heard from a lot of other people that it's trashed, and I'm not like, not trash, but I'm not like as excited for it or happy with it as I thought I would be. So, rewatch score, TV, yeah, I probably would only watch this if it comes on TV. I give it like a 2.5 stars out of 5, but which is kind of like a TV, almost a Netflix. But I would not go for it on Netflix. If it's on TV, I'll watch it. It's not like when I want to watch Interstellar, I will put Interstellar in the Blu-ray player and watch it. But this one, I will probably never go back to. But I would not avoid it. If it's on and I want something in the background that I kind of know what's happening and I don't really want to pay attention, yeah, I'll go for this. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, because I want to stop recording. There is so much noise outside my apartment and my camera is about to die. And as soon as I said that, my camera did overheat, so I had to wait 10 minutes while that noise was going on outside and for my camera to cool it down. So thank you guys so much for watching and putting up with this. Thank you guys so much. I really truly do appreciate you, whoever you are. Let me know here in the comments down below, and let's be friends. If you enjoyed this, leave a like and subscribe if you're new, because I love talking these movies, TV shows, filmmaking, chemistry, all that fun stuff, and I'll see you next time. Bye.